Part 3 is factoring using grouping. We're going to do this with 4 terms. Most likely, unless you learned factoring using the box, you used a slightly different method to factor your 4 term polynomials. Again, this is just a different way to organize the work, and I feel like if we organize it using the box, we make fewer mistakes. So basically, we're going to draw a box, just like we did for our multiplying. But since we're factoring, we are given what goes inside the box, and we're looking for what goes outside the box instead of the other way around like in our first video. So what we're going to do here is place these 4 terms inside the box. We're going to pull the GCF out of each row and each column, and then that's going to give us the outside. That's going to be our answer. So looking at our 4 examples here, or our 2 examples rather here. So I'm going to take this 8x cubed plus 4x squared plus 10x plus 5. Since I have 4 terms, I'm going to draw a box. Now the first one needs to go in the first box. The constant needs to go in the last box. The other 2, it actually doesn't matter. And then I'm going to pull out my GCF of each row, each column. So looking at my first column, 8x cubed and 10x. 2 is common between the 8 and the 10. X is common between the x cubed and the x. Remember, you're always going to go with your lowest exponent. Then looking at my second column, 4x squared and 5, they only have 1 in common. The 5 doesn't have an x, so no x goes there. Looking at my first row, 4 and 8, 4 is common. And then for my variable x, and the smallest exponent is squared. And then my last row here, 10 and 5, the 5 is common, x is not common. Now if you re-multiply, you'll see that this all works out perfectly. 2x times 4x is 8x cubed. Sorry, 2x times 4x squared is 8x cubed. 1 times 4x squared is 4x squared. 2 times 5 is 10x. 1 times 5 is 5. So our answer comes from outside the box, right there and right there. Our answer comes from outside the box, so it's going to be 4x squared plus 5. Those have to go together. They're on the same side. And then 2x plus 1. Let's take a look at our second example. Again, 4 terms here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the box. First term needs to go in the first box. Last term needs to go in the last. And then I'm going to put the 2 middle terms. Again, it doesn't matter which one goes where. 27n squared, negative 8n. And then GCF of each row, each column. So 36 and 8. 8 does not go into 36. So 8 doesn't work. 4 does go into both. Now be careful, because if you use 2 here, it's going to be wrong. It's not going to be the GCF, so it's not going to work right. You have to make sure you're pulling the greatest common factor. So what I do a lot of times is I just look at, don't know why my thing wants to move on me sometimes. I just look at the factors of 8. So 1, 2, 4, 8. 4 goes into 36, so 4 is the one that I am going to use. So here we go, 4, and then n is in common. And then what you can do, if you don't want to try and figure out the GCF between 36 and 27, you can just go 36 divided by 4 is 9. And then look, is 9 the GCF? Oh, sure enough it is. N with an exponent of 2. And then here the 6 and 27 have 3 in common. Because the box closer to it is negative, you're going to make that negative. And then 6 and 8, these have a 2 in common. And again, because the 8n is negative, that's going to be negative. Now, once again, you can do a quick remultiply. 9n squared times 4n is 36n cubed. 9n squared times negative 3 is negative 27n squared. Negative 2 times 4n is negative 8n. Negative 2 times negative 6 times negative 3 is positive 6. And I want to make sure it's clear what I'm saying about the signs. If this sign right here is negative, this sign will be negative. If this is negative, this will be negative. It'll always go with what's closest to the box there. So my answers, once again, come from the outside. That's one of my polynomials. That's the other. So I'm going to have 9n squared minus 2 times 4n minus 3. That's my answer in factored form.